Crystal Palace 1, Tottenham 0. Tottenham once again do a very Tottenham thing and failed to claim even a point in this London derby. Welcome into Top of the Perch. I am your host, as always, Nick Burt. I mean, I said it right there at the open. Tottenham do a very Tottenham thing once again. I'm still at somewhat of a loss of words of how to put this game because it was just a disaster, honestly. Start to finish, this game was a disaster. Tottenham truly, they never felt like they were in this game, which was very worrying. Coming off the victory in the Europa League on Thursday, 1-0 victory. Kind of felt like it was one of their, worst performances of the year, even though they got the win. Hoping it wasn't going to carry over. But, I mean, the scoreline says it right there. It does carry over. This team, I don't know. This always seems to happen. They get a poor run of form, or they face a team that is going to press you like Crystal Palace does, and they just don't know what to do with it. They really just don't know what to do with it. And I think mostly that's the main thing here, that whenever they face pressure, it feels like they'll dominate possession. They just won't do anything with it, and that's the worst part of it. I mean, if we get into the game highlights here, I mean, there was truly only one moment that really truly mattered in this game, and that was in the 31st minute. Romero is sitting on the ball at the top of the box, far side box. He goes to clear it to the other side, to the near camera side, and it goes to Van de Ven, who knows what's going on there. Ends up getting crossed into the box. It's blocked by Eze. And then it is Mateta that is there with a wide open net. Puts it in the back of the net. And it's 1-0 to Crystal Palace. And, I mean, that would really be it of this one. It was disaster. It feels like every time Romero tries that type of clearance on the top of the box, he sits on the ball and clears it out. It always ends up in a turnover, and it usually ends in the back of the net. I don't get it. It seems like that's what is just constantly happening these days. And it just a lackluster defensive performance on just this whole track of the play. I mean, Van de Ven just gets taken out. He seems to be doing dumb stuff. The cross in, or I believe it was that cross in where Van de Ven was. It was Udogie that got cleared out in the box. And Porro is there too. He's not in position. It's just, it's disgusting. It was a disgusting build-up of play for Tottenham, and it ends up costing them. It's as simple as that. Tottenham truly never really felt like they had an opportunity in the first half, which is saying something. Even though they dominated the possession. Second half, I mean, the subs didn't help when you're bringing on Timo Werner and you're bringing on Richarlison. They just never were getting a good touch on this at all. It was a terrible run of form in this game. And honestly, I'm not surprised. Crystal Palace come into this game. They've not won a game all year. They've gotten a few draws. They have a few points. They're not sitting bottom, but they're sitting in the relegation zone. They had yet to get 3 points in a match this season. And who comes knocking? It's Dr. Tottenham. Of course, we would give them their first victory on the year. Every time you think this club has, shed those old, it's the history of Tottenham, Dr. Tottenham's coming, all that kind of stuff, they just go out and do it again. It doesn't matter which manager's here. It can be, 4 different managers in 5 years. It can be the same manager for 6 or 7. It's just somehow ingrained in this club. I don't get it. I don't know what needs to change because obviously the formations and the ideas of the managers have changed. But the same things still happen day in and day out. Players change, managers change, tactics change. It's still the same thing. I don't know what it is, but I mean that's Tottenham for you. That like I said, that is quintessential Tottenham for you. There was a chance in the first minute of stoppage time in the second half. Werner almost gets a good cross on it. You had both Solanke and Richarlison coming in the box. Instead, Werner takes it right at Dean Henderson. So it is what it is. Let's take a look at these just lackluster stats because oh my. So Tottenham, they dominate the possession. 66% of possession to 34 for Crystal Palace. Shots, Palace have more. 14-11. They have more shots on target, 6-3. Expected goals, obviously, since they had the goal, you'd expect them to have the advantage there. They had 0.78 expected goals. Tottenham had 0.74. Passes, Tottenham absolutely dominate, 517 to 247. Fouls, Palace had more, 16 to 12. Same amount of yellow cards at 4, same amount of corners at 8. And, I mean, like I said, I got to give Crystal Palace all the credit. That was an incredible defensive performance today. When, I mean, you have that big of a discrepancy in, passes. You still shut Tottenham down. You keep a clean sheet. I mean, got to give all the props whatsoever to Crystal Palace. That is a brilliant performance. Obviously, I wish it was not at the, cost of a Tottenham victory, but that's just how things always work. So, not really surprised with that. Obviously, possession with that passing number 2, not really surprised there. It's tough watching this kind of game because it was, 73rd, 74th minute. And, you're not going to win this game just by the way it's being played. Yet you still have to watch all 90 of it because it's still only 1-0. If we somehow pull out like a goal out of nowhere and now it's 1-1, the game's back on. But you can't turn it off at 1-1 even though you know how it's going to end. And obviously it ended 1-0, but it's those games where your fate is sealed, but you still can't do anything about it. That's just what this game was. Plain and simple. That's what it was. So let's take a look at the Tottenham player rating for this match. This is something. Mikey Moore off his Neymar-esque play on Thursday in the 45th to 65th minute. He gets his first ever Premier League start. He's the youngest Tottenham player to start a Premier League game since 1993, I believe the stat was. And he looked nothing like he did on Thursday. Now, that could be quality of opponent. That could be the type of pressure that Tottenham were put under today. It could be a mix of both. Gets 6.5. I don't know what you do from here because I know Son's probably on his way back at some point soon. I like him still above Werner in the pecking order, especially for subs. I'd rather bring him on because at least we know there's at least a possibility of a shot going in. With Werner, you can 100% rule that out. So 6.5, I felt like that was the best I could do for his Premier League debut. Dominic Solanke, 6.7. It just seems like he can't really finish right now because Tottenham's not giving him the balls into the box or giving him the opportunities to get into the box with the ball to finish. That I think it's that plain and simple. I don't think this team is really gelling with him right now. I think that's just new player syndrome. I don't know. I feel like this should have been worked out by now. We've been through this is match week 9. We've had a cup tie and then 3 Europa League games. So that's 13 games we've played so far. I know Solanke didn't play in some of those games, but still it feels like that needs to get figured out. And here we are, and it's not. Brennan Johnson, 7-2. I thought he was the best of the attack and midfield today. He was actually one of the best players on the field, obviously. Doesn't get a goal. That goal streak has come to an end, previously to this. But, he at least had a few opportunities today. It felt like it's just he couldn't finish it, and I'm not really surprised because Tottenham just weren't given those opportunities. The midfield today was kind of it was shaky, and so that gets James Maddison a 6.9, Basuma a 6.8, and Kulusevski a 6.5. I gave Kulusevski a 6.5 because right around I think it was before the goal, he was going up for a header. He was deliberately elbowed in the back of the head, and he kind of just didn't look the same after that. He obviously picked up a yellow card later on, which also affects the rating. But this midfield today, they were dominated by this Palace side, and there's no other way to put it. They just thoroughly outplayed today. Destiny Udogie, I thought, was the best player on the field today. On that back line, he earned a 7.5, man of the match. But this back line, especially the 2 center backs, both of them integral to Crystal Palace scoring that goal. And that's not how it should be with the way that these two have played. Romero should not be standing on the ball because it always ends up in disaster. I don't know what Mickey Van de Ven was doing after that. He was just out there in no man's land. I won't say terrible play, but it was very bad play from the back line today. And Porro gets a 6.8. He had a few opportunities in there, but still not great. Vicario made a few key saves. I don't think he could have really done anything on the goal because, he was just going to be out of position no matter what because of the cross going to the other side of the net. Subs, Sarr came on, Richarlison came on, and Werner came on all in the 62nd minute. Sarr, I thought, was the best of the 3. He gets 6.4, Richarlison a 5.9, and Timo Werner a 5.5. Again, I'll state my case of what I said on Thursday. I think Timo Werner's time in a Tottenham shirt should be done, but I get why his time won't be done because we just don't have the depth. It's as simple as that. We don't have the depth, and we need a player to at least be on the field and have at least some glimmer of talent. And then Bentancur got subbed on the 87th minute. Obviously, not enough to grade there. Postecoglou, although, this game was awful today, I gave him a 7 because I think the lineup was there. But also, the tactics, there was no adaptation. So he gets credit for having the squad that I thought could have got them over the line, but gets knocked down because the tactics were not great whatsoever. So, Tottenham. It's the history of Tottenham. I'm not surprised here, but it's another midweek game coming up. We're back in the Carabao. It's the 4th round at home against Manchester City. So who knows what's going to happen. At the end of the last round, so the 3rd round, Pep said he's never putting the starting 11 out there again. He's going to heavily rotate the squad for all cup games going forward. I guarantee you that will not happen for this match. We will see basically the Manchester City coming into this game, and it may be funny. It may be very funny. Hopefully Son is back by then because you can tell this team plays different without Son. And it sounded like he was kept away today for precautionary reasons. Is that so that he's healthy for Wednesday against City? I hope so, but you never know. So we will be back on Wednesday night to recap that Carabao Cup tie, win or lose. So make sure you tune into that. So thank you so much for watching. If you just stumbled across the top of the perch, make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe to the Nick Bird Sports Network. We got a lot of content here, whether that be Tottenham or college football. We got those bases both covered. So just make sure you tune into that. So thank you so much for watching this episode of Top of the Perch, and we will see you back here again on Wednesday night to recap the 4th round tie in the Carabao Cup on another episode of Top of the Perch.